everybody, Archy here. So I've already made this video 3 times and deleted it as many times, so I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and be that as it may, I want to throw my hat into the racism discussion. I have been following Hannibal the Victor, Sophia Rune, and Concordance's videos. They are replying to an individual and a group of individuals who are arguing that there are significant racial differences, making certain races superior and certain races is not superior. And I was confused because the argument that was being put forward, as I understand it, is brain size or something like that, using cranial capacity, which I believe was an argument that was abandoned, like, in not Victorian era, but pretty damn close. We as anthropologists haven't used, like, cranial size as a determining factor of anything for a really long time. The only time that kind of stuff comes into play is when we're looking at pre-humans. So people who aren't classified as Homo sapiens, which makes this argument ridiculous to me on so many levels. And I was floored to hear Hannibal going over a study of cranial size, of skull size amongst the races. Because that study was actually used when I was in school to kind of teach us that race was BS. So I was a little amazed by that one. I was also struck by Hannibal's comments of, it seems that these individuals, whose names I don't know, are trying to insinuate that there were simultaneous evolutions, which is another concept that was thoroughly debunked God, like, almost 100 years ago? Anthropologists and archaeologists do not believe that there are separate evolutions of the races. There is no evidence at any point to support the idea that humans evolved independently in Asia, Africa, and I guess Europe independently. Especially since we have overwhelming evidence that shows us the migration patterns of humans out of Africa. So this is amazing to me. But then again, I tend to stay out of this kind of stuff. It's just, this one's hitting a little too close to home for me, and it makes me uncomfortable because someone is trying to use my field of study, even in the broadest sense, to kind of back up their racism. And if they really were looking at archaeology and really were looking at the evidence that archaeology is providing in this whole race discussion, they would understand that race is a societal construct. It doesn't exist at a physiological level. And it has no impact on anything, really, honestly, at all. I run out of things to say at this point because it's so flooring to me to think that someone has looked at evolutionary history and human migration and just human history in general, and has, for some strange reason, decided that his skin color has made him better than someone else's skin color. Because that's, I suspect, is what this really is boiling down to, and I think that they are grasping at straws to try to back up this superficial argument. And shame on you. Shame, shame, shame on you. That's not what anthropology or archaeology is for. And I think if you want to continue to argue that skin color makes you better and try to couch that by saying that you have physical evidence to support that by saying, you've studied cranial structures, or you've studied skeletal remains, or something like that, and that somehow proves to you that one race is smarter than the other. I think that shows a serious misunderstanding of the information that you are getting, and a very disappointing interpretation that is obviously being fed by bias. But I will be doing a video on my Archy Fantasies channel going over a presentation that I give to school-aged children. I've presented it several years in a row. I've yet to have a complaint on it. And the gist of the presentation is that race is a myth, and there really isn't such thing as race. Because there isn't. And that's the important thing. There are traits, there are physical traits that can be associated to certain races, but that doesn't mean that you are. And that doesn't mean that the skeletal remains that I have found are definitely one race or another. It just means that they express traits that kind of tip them towards one race more than the other. And the other thing that whoever this is doesn't seem to understand is the role that evolution plays in shaping our bodies. Because it's the reason you see humans with more pronounced eye ridges, and the reason you see humans with more robust noses or stronger jaws, or projecting nasal passages, or what have you, zygomatic crests or things like that, is because they have literally developed to survive in a climate, and they have adapted to the climate much like Darwin's finches did. This does not make them different. Humans are a species. All humans are the same species, and just because we have physical traits that make us look different, it doesn't at all contribute to our mental capacities. And for that matter, if we're going to go into the whole intelligence debate, just because by my societal standards I am considered intelligent because I can operate a computer and do basic math and have achieved a higher education, that's what my society considers intelligent. If you were to take me and dump me onto the bush in Africa and say, here, survive, I probably wouldn't. And the people who have lived there, who are taught from birth how to survive there, they would. And by their societal standards, I would be an idiot. And someone who is a successful hunter, or someone who is successful at providing basic needs for their family, would be considered an intelligent person. And it is incredibly ethnocentric of you to assume that because someone does not fit your personal definition of what intelligence is, that makes them stupid. Because you, sir, do not fit their definition of what an intelligent person is, and that makes you stupid in their book. And frankly, being racist makes you stupid in almost everyone I know's book. So there you go. But so I am going to do my presentation on race on the Archy Fantasies channel just because it's a little bit more fact heavy, and I'm going to leave this one on the Blog of Pinkovich channel just because this one was very, very much my opinion, and I am not going to reference anything in it other than to reference Hannibal the Victor, Sophia Rune, and Concordance, because they are doing incredibly in-depth videos. I am impressed with all of them. They don't need my kudos, but they get them. And I will probably only be making these two videos, this one ranting and the other one presenting my information. I will say that the presentation that I give is given to school children of a high school age. So it is my hope that if my high school students can understand what I am saying, that whoever this is can also understand what I am saying, because I will hope that since you are trying to use academic papers to back up your opinions, that you are capable of understanding a presentation given to school-aged children. And that's about as snarky and bitchy as I'm going to be about this one. So keep an eye out for the presentation on my Archy Fantasies channel,